Say testing.
Testing, testing, testing.
Something
testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing.
So now go back to
what is it on? Set it on. It's the excellent collection. So D has to be set. Okay, can you edit? Let's see. Set up a new.
I'm gonna save it. Monetization or anything? Excellent collection.
First live. First live. And we are back. Turns out that the folks want to know. The folks want to know what it looks like when it comes to bracelets and making bracelets. So we are testing this out. This is my first live. This is my first live. Well, welcome, 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 you guys. Drop and check in. And I'm looking to see if we are up. But if not, what's cool is that I will disseminate this video for you all to see. And those who are interested in bracelets, you'll definitely have the option to dive in. So let me know how it sounds. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know about the visuals. As you can see here, there are several bracelets that are handmade, handcrafted by me. But today, I get to show you how to make these bracelets yourself. Let me know how it sounds. Let me know. And it's super simple. Because all you need is elastic, and that's at handmade. Make sure you can see that there. 0.5 mm. Today, I get to show you, and that's your stretch magic. I'll be sure to include the link to the Amazon links that I use to get the material. And it's super simple. When I tell you, you need 3 to 4 pieces of items to make this happen, and we're going to do that today. If you go back to some of my tutorials, you guys have got on me about how fast I move. So if you notice my speed today, it's much slower than what you're probably used to. But I want to make sure that we capture everything. We take our time. We answer questions. And you all let me know if it's something that works for you. If it's something that you can actually use to develop and grow and maintain and perhaps even turn into your own business. I have not made waist beads. I have not made bracelets in some time now because as I transition into the YouTube world, it's just about time, flexibility, the ability to get up, go, move in space. You really have to be in the right mind space to create. And creativity, that innovation, it comes from just being at peace and at one, and also having the space to do so. So there have been a lot of changes in my life, in my household. The room that I would typically use, we turned into a bedroom for our second daughter. So just things are happening, things are changing. So it was important to just get back to it when I could. So I got a really special order from a beautiful friend. And I thought, you know what? I'm definitely going to make these bracelets for you. But I thought, when I do so, let me go ahead and bring it to life for you guys. So I hope you enjoy. This here is what they call the Crystal Bible. And it's by Judy Hall. So if you want to learn more about the crystals, it's definitely a go-to to learn more about each crystal, the meaning, the power behind it. So when you wear your bracelet, you can actually really feel the energy behind each crystal. So be sure to check that out. I'll leave this here for you all. So I don't know if you know all 200 crystals, but for me, this is definitely helpful. So today we are working with amethyst. And this is a beautiful, beautiful purple amethyst crystal. And this one is about really becoming one with self, really staying grounded. I love amethyst. People obviously love the color, the power, the purple, but it talks about the healing powers. It talks about the positioning of really where to wear the amethyst is where as well. Um, and you have every crystal you can think of in here. The specific colors.
Some kind of sound issue. I mean, I can hear you, but it's like echoing. So these are different volumes of it.
Two different. Okay, okay.
But you got 3 viewers.
Okay, good. So we are, let's see, first live, as I mentioned, right? So we're testing out the sound. Feel free to comment if you see, hear, feel something that isn't right, because trust me, there's adjustments to be made here. This is beautiful. So anyway, check out the book, and actually I'll give you the link to everything that I'm showing you here today. I'll give you the link to where I found it, so you can go ahead and purchase it yourself. And let's go ahead and get into it, because you guys are like, what are we doing here? We are making bracelets. So for anyone interested in making bracelets, and or obviously I make bracelets. It's not something that I'm doing right now. I'm making this special order for a very special friend and her daughters. So I want to make sure to bring this to life for you guys today, because if you're not working directly with me, perhaps if you have the tools, the energy, the time, you can be able to craft this for yourself. So let's get going. We're starting here with Stretch Magic. And notice that I'm using 0.5 millimeters. You definitely want to stick with the 0.5, because the elastic really depends on what's going through the hull of each gemstone. So what I like about the 0.5, number one, this is a go-to Stretch Magic. Highly, highly recommended. Super strong. But then when you get the 0.5 millimeters, you can actually take it through a gemstone bead in this hole. I know you can't see it very clearly, but you can take it through this hole several times. And you can do about 4 or 5 loops through this hole, which makes your bracelet so much stronger. It lasts longer. So I want to make sure that you guys are keeping in mind that the size of the elastic, it definitely matters here. So 0.5 millimeters, and that's the Stretch Magic. All right, so we are taking a special order today, so we're going with the amethyst, and we'll go ahead and get started. What I like to use here is the Beadalon curved big eye beading needle. And I like it to curve, and you notice that if you're making as many bracelets as I've made, you may lose your curve, but that's okay. So it starts off with a nice curve. You can see that there. And then you may end up with something like this. I know the color's not as good here, but if you can see that. So it stretches out a bit, but it's fine. You really don't need the curve. The curve just helps you to keep things in motion. So we're going to head and get started here. Any pair of scissors works. I like these cool little clippers. Easy. Just kind of clip my way along here. So you're going to grab your elastic. And here you need about, I would say, about 20 to 30 inches of elastic is where you want to stretch it out. Now, the smaller the beads, and when I say the smaller, that means you're using less gemstones. And in this case, she says we're going to do anywhere between 18 to 16. So I think we're going to go with 17 and just call it a day. And with the stretch, she'll get enough stretch in it over time. So what we do, as I mentioned, oops there. You want to stretch it out. I would say a good 20 to 30 inches is solid. What do you guys think? Okay. So once you have that, I'm going to go ahead and chop that. And there's one thing that I need that I'm going to go grab. The BeadBug. How could I forget? 1 second. You guys hum some hold music, because my first live, I'm not prepared with that right now.
Everything sounds good.
We're bead bugging. All right. I will give you the link to these. Lifesavers, everyone needs them. It's what you use that really snaps whatever you're working on, it keeps it in place. So this BeadBug, I mentioned there's about 3 or 4 things. I think this is a must add on. Sorry, it's not easy to see there, but if you see it comes in a nice pack, and what you do is go ahead and bend it there, and you can get a grip on any area of the elastic. So you have your elastic, and as I mentioned, about 20 to 30 inches is more than enough. And what I like to do is start here with giving it a few inches, just so you know where to start, right? And then you go ahead and put your bead bug on there. And the goal is to put every single gemstone on. So we left a few inches there, about 5 inches, and we're going to place the bead bug on. And again, it does not matter where this is because it will adjust anyway. What you want to do is just pretty much create a stopper for your bracelet. All right, so now, as you can see here, I literally fell asleep working on this here. Like my husband had to take it out of my hand. Like any movement, I would have would have hurt myself. But I was really making sure that I went through the process so that I could continue to teach on this. Because one thing I know is that when you haven't done some for a little while, you know, there may be some key great areas that I know would make a difference for you all. So I started to just redo the process. What are some key things that work for me? Make sure things are still working. So I actually stopped here and I'll finish it off, but this is a cool idea of where we're headed to. And this could definitely fit both male or female. It's a little larger than usual. Let's talk about the number of gemstones. For this one, we used about 20 to 23, which fits pretty well. It should be sturdy enough to wear right now. So for me, if I were to put this on, this is what it looks like. So this is a little bit of a lot. So I would typically go with about 21 gemstones to fit for my bracelet, but it's totally up to you. In this case, you can measure it, and I typically ask my clients, well, how many gemstones will you need? And they often know because they're wearing one of my bracelets, so they can either count it, let me know, say I want to go a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, and we go from there. So now we're headed back to it. The Beadalon curved big eye beading needle. That's what I have here. And what I love about it is a big eye, which means that you can actually crack this open. You can see that there. And forgive me with the color is, guys. I'm going to work on that. Yeah, some solid background for you. See? That's what the black skin looks like. All right, so if you see it opens up there, this is to the side, this is forward. And if you crack that open, you go ahead and stick the elastic right in there. And now you have your string that's headed through on that end. And you'll let it hang. You want to give it enough room so that it doesn't slip out. So now we're going to begin the process. Here's where I will usually speed up my video, but we're live, so you guys are live and with me. This process doesn't take long. But if you want to go grab something to drink, you know, pop that snack in the air fryer, because this is the simple part. We're talking ABC here, right? Because what I'm going to do here is just place each gemstone onto the needle, slip it right through, and that's why I told you about our good old handy bead bug, because everything's going to stop at our bead bug. You can do this anywhere. Typically do it in bed. You can do it at the office. A percentage of these could have been made during a break time when I was just thought, let me just relax and do a few bracelets. So again, this is the simple part. This is the part where you can take a quick break because I have to put every single gemstone onto this needle and let it drop. So you guys are working with me. I'll keep track of the time so we can talk through about how long it takes to do this. So again, what I'm doing here, if you're just jumping in, Lisa here with Bliss Waist Ice Beads. We do a little bit of everything here, you guys. We are doing self-development first because that's where it starts. Then we do a lot of emotional intelligence, anything that's keeping you grounded, keeping your mindset in place, making sure that you're aware of who you are, making sure you understand your power, okay? We're the power seekers. These are folks that, and there's only a small percentage of people that understand what I mean. But the proper seekers are the ones that are interested in learning more, going a bit deeper. Um, you don't necessarily listen to what is in front of you at hand or what you've seen, but you're going to actually educate yourself, learn more about yourself, and then in turn, do better to help the next person. So that's what we are doing here. That's what we're about here. And we're shoving these gemstones onto the needle. If you see here, sometimes I just get a little crafty and I put on a few at a time because it'll hold it. Oftentimes, if I have many gemstones, I'm counting each one. Here's where we are, guys. Isn't that pretty? Oh. You can just feel the energy. So, Paige started with waist beads. Obviously, you guys know the importance of waist beads and wearing waist beads and where it originated from. Me being Nigerian, my grandmother wore waist beads, so it goes far back. But the meanings and the reasons for wearing them have shifted over the years, but the cultural tradition remains the same. And I teach more about the awareness of wearing waist beads as well. Had a beautiful sister open me up to bracelet wearing, and I decided it's gorgeous. I'm going to give it a try and haven't turned away since. So I've made thousands of bracelets. I've made even more waist beads. I'm finding that space of creativity has been rewarding for me. So it's important to find that space for yourself as well. But this space here is lovely. I'm getting to know some beautiful people, and I hope to get to know you all as well. As I'm working here, I do not have access to the chat, so if you're chatting, please know I am not ignoring you. I'm only human, so I'm only paying attention to one thing at a time, and you guys are going to get these bracelets together. Tell a few stories here and there, but I don't know if I can really capture the chat. But hey, I'm saying I don't know how to do it now. Doesn't mean I won't be learning in the future. Just keeping everything set up. So if you're paying close attention, notice I just shifted the BeadBug. It was here. I'm just moving it a bit closer because I can give it a little bit more slack on the end now that I have all the gemstones on. So we are at what I'll consider, let's call it part 3. First part, we are getting the string together. We're going to pull about 20 to 30 inches of string. Second part, we'll get the Beadalon Big Eye Curve needle, and we'll go ahead and put the elastic through the string. Part 3 would be adding each and every gemstone onto the elastic, and we're doing that using a BeadBug to put a little stop to all of this action. Now, if you don't have a BeadBug, you can use anything. You know, we can get creative here. But I'm thinking efficiency, something really quick, make life easy for you. Anything that I tell you is because I've done everything the opposite, and then I figured out how to do it right, or quicker, or easier. Then I'm like, oh, I'll save people time with this by just sharing this information, which is literally what I do on this page. Come across something amazing, that's shocking, that's thrilling, that's educational, that's life-changing for me, I share it with you all. I'm no genius. I'm just a sponge who takes in a lot of information and I love to share it, and in the process, learning more about myself and growing as an individual. So, back to our bracelet, because you see how it just go there. Now we're at, I told you that I would do 17, but I went ahead and did 18 on this one. We're just going to go forward and we'll work backwards from there since it's out. So here's the most important part. I want you guys to keep up with this because this is where most people are thrown off. Here's how we hide the elastic. I'm just moving my hands a bit for you because the way you guys got on me in the comment section, my last video, you guys know who you are. I really have to get my whole life together for these videos, even though I'm doing my best to show you guys what to do. So if I'm moving too fast, slow me down. You guys know how to do that in settings. Moving too slow, you know what to do there. So you want to grab both ends. So now we have 2 ends together. So the goal is to simply send the needle back through, here I am again blocking you guys up. The goal is to send the needle right back through the gemstones as you did. So to prevent confusion, I'll lay it down here. Here's where I slow it up. Now we have 2 ends. One end has the BeadBug. The other end has the needle. So we're going to go from needle to BeadBug in, which means we have a little bit of slack on this side, on our left, a little bit of slack on the right. Again, I'm slowing this down because I believe this could be the most confusing section. And now we want to send it back through the gemstones because we want to create a flawless, similar to this here. This is what we like to get to, where there's no evidence of string anywhere in your bracelet, and you lasting for years at a time. And if you happen to get a little snap, maybe you stretch it a bit, and you know you happen to have some extra elastic, you can literally snip that elastic and be away with it because we're creating so much slack on the sides that we have enough elastic to send through the bracelet to really secure it. Okay. Now, if you're with me, and definitely don't want to hear from you guys talking about moving to slow down. So if you're with me, let's go. Needle, BeadBug side. We're sending it back through. You could take a break here, but if you've never seen this before, stay close, because you may confuse yourself. Because the goal is to send this string just laid out on the other end. This string is going back through the gemstones, and we're going for it. I'm going to shift this for you. Make sure I'm in the right lines. All right. Okay. You lay this down because you don't want to lose the gemstone, so I typically use a towel or anything that will secure it and keep everything still. Now we're going back through. So again, if you're just joining, we're making beautiful bracelets with crystals and gemstones, and I have this crystal Bible here for those who may not be familiar with the charges and the crystals and what they do. So feel free to learn more, and I'll leave a link to all of the materials and tools that I'm using here. And if you want to learn more, obviously we have our website as well. So we're making a beautiful set for a dear friend, and now it's time to send it on through to the other end. Okay, so forgive me if my hands are in the way. Get better at working on this for you guys. Okay. So now we're sending it back through. Leave your BeadBug where it is. That needs to stay right there. That's why I like to have a BeadBug on it, because like, don't go anywhere. So here's what we're doing here. We're sending the gemstone through the needle onto the other end. So there's something that happened here. And when this happens to you, don't get nervous. The BeadBug that was once on this end has now shifted over to this end, which is what we want. You have your elastic at the other end. Perfection. Okay, so you keep that going. Your BeadBug should stay where it is. We still have our loose elastic that we're pulling through, and keep working through that. Now we're sending it back through the next gemstone. So here, if you're familiar with this process, it's a good time to take a break. If you're not, stick with us. Definitely ask any questions in the comments. While I may not get to you at this moment, I'm circling back with any questions here. Feel like there's a step missed, let me know. Well, I know I'm not missing any steps. If you feel like you've missed anything, let me know. And I only say that because I've done this so many times. So I can tell you with confidence that so far, so good. Okay, so here's what it's starting to look like now. Notice, so we have about 4 gemstones in motion. Our BeadBug is on this end. We have our needle on this end, and we're still sending them through. And although we went through the first 17, I did 18. 18 gemstones, we're going to send it back through the same 18 gemstones all over again. Look at how we're doing on there. So, for those who appreciate how slow this is going, great. Because for me, I'm like, this is where we speed it up. I can make a quick video, but I do appreciate this live setting. I've never done it before. I know that there are several people out there that would appreciate understanding this process. So here I am, and then I'm opening up myself open for any questions that may come around. So here's what we have, guys. Here's where we are. Here are the gemstones that are have double elastic in it so far, and here are the ones that we're sending through. I like to leave it like this so there's no confusion, but if you do get confused, if you pull the extra elastic, you can see it. Look at that. So we're double, and then we have a single. All right, so we're going back through. And if you notice how much extra elastic we have, our goal is to send this through as many times as we can possible so that this bracelet is nice and strong. All right, how are we doing out there? Again, my name is Lisa here with Bliss Lace Ice Beads. If you're just joining in, I'm showing you guys a process that I've coined as one of my most relaxing things to do. Something I hadn't had time to do much often lately. As you can see, pumping out so much content and family and life is happening. So I have not created the bandwidth and capacity to do this. But if you are here, this is big news. It's the big thing, because you'll capture this and you can take it and literally run with it. You can make some for yourself, for your family. It's beautiful for gifting. And if you don't know what the crystals mean, you have a cool crystal Bible here to help you to understand what each crystal is. So I believe in God. Obviously there's different Bibles, but the title of this one is the Crystal Bible. So I'll leave a link for you guys so that you can actually pick it up yourself if you'd like to learn more. And there's over 200 crystals in this book. So if you're hanging with me, I already know my visuals in regards to where my hand is. I know you guys may be missing, but we're talking through what we're doing here. So right now, remember I told you we're sending this through to prevent confusion. I won't lift it, but now we have, it has to be about 16 here, right? That's double, which is great. This is what we want. And there's 2 left. So we're going to keep going up until we meet the other end of the loose elastic. So keep going, 2 more. Now I'm moving a bit slow, but if you guys are keeping track of the time, you can see how long it typically takes to make a bracelet. For me, I'm really just, when I say focus, it could be not using my hands. I think that's where the focus comes from. So if I'm not using my hands on other items and really focus on what I'm doing, not checking my phone and messages and things of that sort, I can finish up a bracelet. I would say I could secure one in about 25 to 40 minutes. And I know that's a weird gap, but it depends on the size. It depends on, what's happening around me. Sometimes you can get a bit caught up with making sure you have the knots in the right area. But a clean bracelet, let's say 25 minutes. And I don't know, I'll time this video to get a clear idea, because you kind of lose yourself when you're doing these things. So here we are. We are at the end of the first process, which was sending the elastic through the gemstones another time, which we did. Okay, well done, well done. So the next step would be to bring this together. So how are we going to do that? It is time to let go of the needle for this, just to make sure no one gets hurt here. Okay, and you can leave, we can adjust the BeadBug as well. So let's go ahead and take this off, because what we want to do is create an even side of the elastic of the bracelet on both ends so that we can evenly send them through. It's not necessary, but for me, I'm just kind of precise that way. So I like to see them pretty even. But if you decide I want to keep going like this, that's fine. You'll find that there's ways you can work around that. But if you want to do it my way, here's how we're going to do it. Remove your elastic from the big eye, curve eye needle. Remember, these open up, so it's really easy to use. You don't need your glasses to put this through. And then you're going to remove your BeadBug on the other end. Drop that. So now we have two sides. One's longer than the other. So let's start adjusting. Let's start pulling on one end because it's all going through the same bracelet. So now one side's a little longer. You want to get a little more there. You pull on the shorter end. Try to get a little more leverage. Give me some of that. Give me some of that. And in the process, look at what it's doing. It's bringing the bracelet together. Look at that. Okay, we're going to pull a little more, pull a little more. Okay. All right, so it's, here's where we are. Let's say we bring this together. Not necessarily even, but we can work with that. Okay? You just want them as close as possible because to me, I think it just makes for an even feel and you get an idea of where you are in the process of creating the bracelet. So while I said I'm fine with it, I think I need to just pull it just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Okay. All right. So now that we have it this way, here's an important piece to keep this together. Now you have elastic on one end, elastic on the other. You're going to cross them. And then you're going to pull. Now when you pull, it typically will unravel just like it did there. So you want to pull, but use your finger to keep the beads, the gemstones together. So you're going to pull, kind of use your finger to coach that in, okay? And all we did there was cross. There's no knot there. Now we need knots because this is not going to happen if we don't get these knots in there, okay? So now that we have that X, which is great, I typically do a quick flip. And you guys may be familiar with the sergeant knot. Very simple knot. All you're doing, if you do your regular knot, right? Instead of pulling at this pull, you're going to send the string through one more time. Send it around. This background for you guys. This white doesn't help. Don't worry, we'll adjust. I'm explaining. So hopefully that's making sense now. I'm thinking I'll get a darker background for the next video. So once you have that, now you have more than just a knot. You have a good old sergeant knot. And you're going to pull at that. Make sure you're careful not to send it around the gemstone and now your knot's layered around it because it does not look good. It's frustrating and it's hard to take apart and you really don't want to start over, okay? Take it for an example. All right, so have that there. Now you have your sergeant knot. You can never go wrong with a sergeant knot, the good old sergeant knot. Now, you can do another one of those if you like, but for me, I just want to keep it nice and thin because we have this extra string. It has to go somewhere, right? We're not cutting this. We're not cutting this. We have to send it right back through. So if you're at this point of the video, again, this is Lisa Nar here, and we are creating gemstone crystal bracelets. And this is a very special order for a very special friend. And we're showing you the process from beginning to end. So hang on, stick on. You guys like, it's our very first live. So show us some love, what do they say? Like, share, tell a friend. I know we have some special stars there if you'd like to donate. And keep in mind that I'm showing you this not simply to show off what I can do, but to show you a skill that you can do, you can teach your children to do, that at some point can earn you perhaps this piece here, looking at 35, right? And I have an account of whatnot and such, so you can take items. Hard thing about those accounts is, if you don't have anything to sell, it's hard to be a part of that environment. But when you can create something to sell, 100% of the profits go to you and your family. I mean, it's a win-win. And then you get yourself, stretch yourself out of your comfort zone, put yourself in a position to help someone else. And as I mentioned, all of these have price tags for a reason because, while I do love what I do, I also do know that my skill is worth quality, and it's worth being paid for the right individual that sees that. And as you can see, as we're taking time here, these bracelets, I'm not sending maybe one elastic through it. We're going through this several times, so it does take time. And, time is money. So we want to make sure that we are using our time wisely. If you agree with that, double click, okay? So listen, the knots were together. We made the sergeant knot right there. So now I'm deciding to go left. Doesn't matter if you go left or right, but I'll then grab the elastic and I'll put it back onto my double eye needle, and now we're going back through. Because I was talking through that just assuming, oh, they know what I'm doing, but no, perhaps you don't. And that's okay, because this is the learning space. We are learning here. So now we're headed back through, and now we're going to go just as many times, we're going to go all the way around. But what we will not do is land at the same space we started. We'll land a space or two prior to where we're starting. And how do we know where we're starting? Because that's where the elastic is, if you can see that. The elastic is here, so we know we're going left. The elastic is here. When we come to the right of that, we want to stop a few seconds, a few gemstones ahead of that, simply because we will make another knot, but we don't want the knot to layer on top of the surgeon knot that we already have. So you want to stop a few steps ahead of that. And I should be able to do that unless I get like distracted from talking while doing this and then I skip a beat. But the goal is, I'm telling you now, unless you make a mistake, you want to get that right before a gemstone or two. It could be three, wherever you're comfortable. Just don't land in the same spot, because that same spot can get a bit bulky, and you don't want that. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Okay. Well, big thighs. Big thighs just knock this whole thing over. So what we're doing, we're kind of stretching, pulling. They always say it's good to stretch your elastic before you get started as well. Give it some initial stretch. I do recommend that as well, but as you see, I did not do that in the video. But I'm giving you guys what I'm doing right. Okay, don't focus on what I'm doing wrong. When I hit it right, I'll let you know. When I get it wrong, I'll tell you too. Like, don't do that. We kind of messed that up there. But this, I'm coming out here confident, showing you guys this because something that I've confidently done for many, many years now. You want to take this one up? I have to make one that's more your size, darling, but it does look good. Seem like the boy in the back. No, thief in the night. This is a special order. If you guys see something here that you like, we have the tiger eye. Sometimes we add, oh, this one's very interesting. Let me not get distracted. Sorry, guys. Okay, focus. If you see something you like, let me know. That's what I'm trying to say. And if you mentioned that you were on this live today, a part of my very first live, buy one, get one free for you, okay? And if I say it, consider it done. Because word is bond. That's all I got. It's worth more than money. So if you happen to see this, see something you like, and you mentioned that you saw it on this live today, let me know. So we're headed back through the other end. And again, I know my hands are not giving what you guys want, but patience, okay? And don't sit there and just complain. Put in the comments. Let me see what you're talking about. You can take some corrective criticism. Far from perfect, but I sure do strive for that thing. Let's see. It's kind of how I talk to myself when I'm creating things as well. You're curious about that. So we did good. We did not forget, because sometimes you can just be in flow and go past where you need to go. And that's fine too. It all works. But I'm giving you guys the best tips today. So if you do anything outside of what I'm doing, I promise you, you still be so proud of yourself at the end of your creation. So as I said, I'm stretching, I'm moving, I'm flipping. So now we are here. It took us 2 gemstones ahead of where we originally started. We're going to lay that thing down because we don't want to lose motion, because now everything's kind of looking alike, right? So we're going to take, we have the end, oh, notice we stopped using the BeadBug. We don't need it. We're good now. We have the end of the needle, and I'm blocking my light. Just give me the light. Hold on. Okay. That should work. At some point this was too bright, which I know is bright, but we're just going to work all this out. Everything looks good for me. All right, so we're going to take the needle off, and then we're going to put the needle on the other end. And before I do that, so I don't confuse you all, once we put the needle on the other end, we're going to send the elastic through the needle, and now we're going back to the other side, because now we want to meet our friend. Our friend that started coming this way, now we're going to send it back this way, because we want to get to that point where we just want to do a good old surgeon knot there. So that's what I'm doing before I do it, okay? All right, so here we go. We're going to open our big eye, needle eye, curve eye. Beadalon. Some of my favorite people. I was so excited when they started following me on Instagram, like because they knew I was the truth. Like I was a true warrior of their products, their bead spinner. I brought their bead spinner to life. Like I brought super innovation to the waist bead world, and it was super awesome to have and to do. And I felt like once they came through with that follow, it was like, okay, y'all see me because I see y'all. Okay, so now I did a little twist there because I'm right-handed. So we're going left, but because I want to send my beads through, I just know I'm going back to the other end. Let's go ahead and do that there. Now we're going back the other way. And I say this is simple stuff, but look at how long it's taking you guys. Because we want this to be secure. Okay? Back the other end, head the other way. All we're trying to do is meet our friend. Good old elastic. Oh, I should have given them names because we have the needle side and we have the BeadBug side. So one could have been like the needle, the other one could have been bug, and that could have helped us identify the string. So you see how when you do things, you just get better as you go. Okay, so do a little stab there. I like how that looks. Have to do it again, but it keeps it safe, and then you can see this needle because these bad boys, they could hurt you, and there's nothing you could do. But blame yourself because you did it to yourself. Okay, so look. Now we have the elastic on both ends. Hope you guys are hanging in. Because if you're doing this with me, this is how your bracelet is looking. And you got somewhere to go, place to be, or a gift to give. You have it in less than an hour. Okay? So check this out. So now we're open. We'll do what we did again. They're separate. We do a little twist. Okay? Just to make sure we have a little cross. And then when we do that cross, it helps us tighten things up a bit. Not too tight, although it'll loosen up. If you want to get a nice grip, you want your beads, your gemstones to stay together. All right? So next, we have this. We're going to surgeon knot that thing again. Are we ready? Surgeon knot. I hope that can give you a better view here. We're going to center that around like you do your shoestring. Everyone should know that, not judging if you don't. But you leave it open there, and then you send it around again without closing your loop. Okay? So now you have a few, about 3, 4 knots in there before you send it down. Surgeon knot, ready to go. Make sure your elastic doesn't get all caught up and twisty. And twist. You can get a nice pull out of it. I can pull even harder. I've tested this out and the pull is ridiculous. But since this one is for a client, we are not risking anything here, my friend. But I mean, that sounded weird because I have tested it out, and I should test it out here for you guys. But I'm just afraid if something goes wrong. We're live, but I don't know if I'm giving you guys a good stretch there. See, I can't even keep it on camera. That's how much we're stretching. Okay, all right. And again, that's your stretch magic. Go to don't sleep. I'm one who's gonna test everything out, screw up, fall over, stumble forward, and get to the good stuff. I'm only gonna tell you about the good stuff. Trust your bro. Okay, so hanging with me, y'all. Happy Saturday. My first live. Thank you for joining. Again, if you happen to join this live and you see anything here that you love, you can check out my website. Mention here that you were here for the live, and everything is buy one, get one free for you today because we thank you. So, again, we're going to pull that, and now we're back, and we're literally doing the same thing again. Okay? We're going to find the end, a direction we want to go. You typically know because one's shorter than the other, and we're going for it. Grab your big eye needle, send it through, and you know what to do. Let's go. This is typically where you go take your break, warm something up, chop something up, but I want to get another good tug here, make sure that's nice and tight. Because often, when you begin working here, the knot can go inside of the gemstone, which is what I love, because now we're really hiding knots around here. So, in this case, I don't know if you noticed, I had a knot that was kind of blocking me from going into the gemstone. So what I did, I pulled it down a bit because we need to work around you, my friend. And we're going to go up and above and pull through. Because remember, we're looking at about 4 layers of elastic that's gone through this bracelet thus far. So we're getting tighter, right? Things are getting snug, and our knots are looking for a place to hide. And we'll continue to hide them because as we pull the needle through, like so, we're giving it a little tug. And that little tug is sending that knot inside of your gemstone. So when things get a bit tighter, you'll notice, the flow of how this is going inside each bead. Oh, perfect example, right when I was saying that it was happening. Because this is where you know things are getting tight. So what I'm going to do here is, again, pull because I want to work around that. Pull it. Because when you pull, remember elastic, it kind of shrinks. It tightens up. It flattens out when you pull it. So if anything's a bit snug, pull it, which will flatten it out a bit, which will give you enough space. So now we're headed the other way. We're headed the same direction. Our mark line is where our first elastic resides, okay? And we're gonna keep going, and we'll probably go a few steps ahead of that to make sure that we don't have too many knots in one place. Because if you get too many knots in one place, it's going to be hard to send the needle through. So we're just a moment into going. Because remember, what we're trying to do now, let me see if I can count. We have about 4 layers. Let's go with 3. Let's say we have about 3 layers that's gone through the gemstones, right? But remember, we're now sending, we have 3 layers that are in the gemstone. We have another layer of elastic that we're sending through the gemstone. We have a layer of this needle that we're trying to send through the gemstone hole as well. Not to mention, when this portion of the needle goes in, now it has double elastic that it wants to send through it too. See that? Because you have this side of the elastic, that side of the elastic, plus the needle. Things are getting real thick right here, real thick. So if things are starting to catch up for you, just remember what you're sending through, and which is why we started with 0.5 of the elastic, because we want the thin version of the elastic, so we have a bit more agility, flexibility to send through the gemstone. But when things tighten up, it's not you, it's the process, okay? So now we're going, sending it back through. I have to do a little pull thing now because, like I said, we have some layers. We're working with some layers. And sometimes you have to really pull it to send the elastic through because we have so many layers. And I don't want the needle to catch inside of the gemstone. So hopefully you guys are with me here. You guys are catching what's happening here. As I mentioned, if you're commenting, do forgive me. I am human, and it will be very difficult for me to respond to comments as well as do this process and explain it because it is a process. And for those who are really interested in making bracelets, especially for business purposes, where hence why doing lives, so my husband's making breakfast, or should we say burning? But anyway,
Not breakfast.
it's okay. It said tacos. Oh yeah, we're at lunch now. So we're making tacos. I do like my meat well done, but my friend. So, but it's good to know that the fire alarm is working, that we're up to par. And usually when I'm doing lives, it's not me that's doing stuff that's really weird. Usually my husband has things going on in the background. Never forget this one time. This was a paid live. I was paid to host, and he walks in and just like clips the plug and unplugs me from this live that I'm paid to be on. You could kill the guy, but I love him. But well, at least someone's making some food, Because while I'm doing this live with you guys, the kids gotta eat. And they sure will. Okay, so while I was chatting, I don't know if you noticed, I went ahead and put the needle back through the other side. And now we're going the other way because we want to create another knot. But again, we don't want to do the knot where we did the last one because this is going to get nice and bulky, and we don't want that. So we want to kind of disseminate our knots all throughout the process, and that's how we're doing it by wherever we start, we stop a bit ahead of it. Wherever we start, we stop a bit ahead of it. Now I'm sending this back to where I landed, just so I can create another knot on this end. And let's say you look around there and you're like, oh no, there's a knot there already, no problem. Find a new place or add another knot there. It's not a challenge. But if you want that even flow of, you know, solid, you want that strip all around the bracelet, you want to definitely shift where you're placing your knots. Okay? So now we're headed back this way. And I like to twist it so I know where I'm going. And notice again, there's a little knot there, right? So we have to do some stretching because things are getting really stiff right now. And we're not at the end. So if you guys are wondering where are we in this process, we're not quite there. You know when we're at the end, depending on the gemstones, depending on when you really just cannot go any further with the elastic. And here, I was running into a little rut. Sometimes you gotta throw a little muscle, a little grease in there and make it happen, because there are knots now, especially in this area. Okay? These holes are really easy for me. I know some people may wear glasses so you cannot see the hole. I am nearsighted, so I have a challenge seeing things from afar. So this is not a challenge for me at all. So close. But then when it comes to driving, they want me to wear glasses, which I do because the way my eyes operate, you know, it's the best thing for me. I want to be able to see the signs. But if I know where I'm going, I can do it. But I wear contacts for this. And I'm just so happy my kids didn't get my eyes. I got my husband's eyes. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, so let's pull. What we're doing here, we didn't even do it not yet. What we did was we put the X in there to make sure things are nice and tight and together. What I typically do, I'm going to try to do something a bit different in case I did not do this before. I just kind of spin it around just so I can maybe put my X at the bottom. Just weird motion, movement stuff that will not cost you if you don't do that. But things like this, like the surgeon knot will. You want tight, you want it strong. You want this bracelet to last for years, many years. And the bracelets we're making here, they're lasting many years. So now if you can tie your shoe, you can tie this knot. But instead of that one loop, we're going to send it again, go into the sergeant knot, and take your time. Make sure that your knot is headed down exactly where you want it. One thing that will go wrong in this place is when you're making your knot and the string is so long and it happens to loop over another gemstone, and here you are just pulling your life away and making sure that it's nice and tight. And when you look at it, you literally have like elastic that's hanging over your gemstone like this, and there's like nothing you can do about it because you really just pulled your life away. So in that case, if that does happen to you, I said there's nothing you can do about it. That's not true. All lies. You can. You probably have to stop the process right here. Cut off that elastic and just let that one go. Use the rest of what you have and send it the rest of the way around. And that should be secure enough. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the beginning of the process because that only means you have maybe about 1 or 2 strings going through this bad boy, which, again, it will work, sure. But I'm talking hardcore quality, white glove, long-lasting bracelets that you never have to worry about for many years to come. This is the type of work we're doing here. So anything less than what you do, less than what I do here, I promise you can make it work. But I mean something that looks good, something they can wear, something that you feel super comfortable gifting to someone else, and even better, something that you can sell. All of these have price tags on it, and this particular one that I'm making now is a order that was placed by a client, so we were making them. Which is, I thought, you know, if I'm going to go through this process, let me show you guys what I'm doing because I have to do it. It's an order place and we're there. So now, if you guys remember where we were with the string before, look at how much string we have. It's less than my hand. Before we started with about 20 to 30 inches of string. So we're getting places here. Now, this is getting really short. And our bracelet is really strong now. So this is great. So what I like to do, I'm going to begin the closing process. Let's start to close this up. What do you guys say? Yeah? Let's go ahead and end it here. What I could do is send the needle back into the big eye and go back around a few more times. But I mean, let's be honest. We have many, many layers in there. We're about here, and we need enough leverage to make our final knots. So let's go ahead and stop here. So if you get, maybe you can measure your hand if you're at home and say, well, from about, you know, less than my hand on each side, that's good enough since we're talking measurements. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and do this. It's time to close this off. For those who hung in there, good for you. Be sure to subscribe, like, especially comment. If you see something, know something, can say something, please do that because I'm all about improvement. I'm all about just being a better person. It's all about self development. I'm far from perfect, although it's something that I indeed strive for it. I know it doesn't exist, but I feel like life would be a better place if I continue to just work towards those things, making myself a better person. It will make sure that my health is in place. If I'm striving for better health, so as long as I'm always striving, as long as I'm always pushing, that's what the infinity sign is about. It's continue to evolve. Stagnation stinks. So you sit there and just not do anything with yourself, something's gonna go wrong. And I'm really big now. You know, I'm hitting that good old 4-0. So I'm talking, I need things to operate. I need things to move the way it should. You know, squats daily. You know, I'm constantly working my body. I'm constantly moving things because it's mind over matter. And as long as I can get my body to believe that we've been around here a little less time than what it think it is, and we keep moving and keep my brain functioning, and you know, stay active and continue to build awesome relationships, like I think I'll be all right. And I want to be healthy for my kids. You know, if you run, I want to be able to catch you, and that's not easy. You know, if you're not doing those things daily, and you know, sometimes it may take, you know, gotta see the doctor. It may take an operation to get it right. Go get it right, whatever it is. Get in there and make it happen, because time changes, and you know, you should age yourself like a vehicle. You know, so for me, I would be a 1985. You know, call me what you want. So we gotta make sure, you know, they find that engine. Gotta make sure things are up to par. You don't just leave things just sitting around. You have to check things out. Make sure, go get that check. Bug your doctor. You know, this feels a little different. Just stab myself, by the way, which could happen. This feels a little different. You know, what's up with that? You know, this is a little odd here. You know, when I get up, it's not as quick. And if that doctor says, here's what you need, you gotta be consistent. You gotta do that thing every single day. You have to make sure that you're doing what you can for yourself because it'll make a difference for the people around you. And being able to just be there and be healthy and be able for my children and my family. Some things are bigger than what we can handle. For the things we can't control, just say do your best. You guys with me on that? Just rocking our best. So if you're commenting, I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see you right now. So we are headed back the other direction. What I did here, I stopped and I just placed a big bead bug there because these strings are getting small. They're starting to look alike. So if you're anything like me, I may lose where I am here, and we can't do that for you guys live. So I put a bead bug on there. It's short, simple. I know I'm not going to do much with that anymore. So now I'm going the other end. I'm just going to send it back the other way. I don't have to. But why not give it a little bit more elastic? You know, why not give it a little bit more string while we're at it? Because the rest of this elastic here, did you guys see that? I should do that in slow motion. I'll stab myself again. Be careful, it doesn't hurt. There's no bleeding, so we're good. But you do feel that, could have been. Could have been. Be careful, girl. So why not more send it back through because the rest of this is going to go to the trash. And I like a little bit more leverage because I'm going to make my final knots with that. And if your hands are greasy or slippery or you can't, okay. So this is good because that just happened. I was about to send it through one more time and it just kind of fell out of the big eye curve needle. So in that case, it's telling us, you're good, babe. So that's good. Because otherwise what I would do is, just say if I wanted to like really get aggressive, which you could, but you don't have to for life purposes, I won't. But I'm also going to teach you guys some options because my way is not the only way. You guys do know that, right? Okay, so what I could do is simply stretch, make sure I'm holding this area of the needle because this is where it keeps slipping out. And what happens is there's too much pressure here, tension. So when you're pulling, it wants to pop out of the needle. So what I would do is while I'm beading, threading, creating waist beads, and in this case, making bracelets, I would pull and then send it through. So I'm just using more of the elastic, but we don't need to do this. because we're good. Time's sake. And we're strong. This is just if you want to get that extra out of it. If you're feeling like, I don't want to waste that. But we're okay here. By the way, this pack here is about $3 and some change. So, it's not a whole lot of waste. And with each bracelet, I do about, I think I said about 20 to 30 inches. And if you can see here, we're talking 32 feet. So I'll have ChatGPT do some math for me to tell me how many realistically bracelets you can make with each one of these. I could do it right now, but I'll get super distracted. But we can find out. I'll add in the comments how many bracelets realistically, if we stretched out about, let's go with the large, let's say 30 inches, which you really don't need 30 inches. 20 is more than enough, but let's say 30, give or take, to make bracelets at 32.8 feet long of elastic. How much of that, or maybe you can do 10 millimeters. Put that into ChatGPT because that's what I'm about to. You guys notice? Let me tell you what I'm doing before I start my ChatGPT talk. We're the final countdown. And this is good because I have places to go. Oh, I don't know if I told you guys I'm seeing Beyonce tonight. So after we're wrapping up this live, it's about getting my life together. We gotta see Beyonce. So, and I wear a few of these bracelets for you because a few of them are giving me the. I was thinking about taking this fan, but I don't think I'll get in because the last time I went to this other stadium, they really hated on my big purse. So anyway, we're at the final countdown. Okay, forgive me if we're going off, but if you know, you know. Final countdown. It's time to loop this thing in. It's time to call it a day, guys. We're done. We're done. We're done. Now we're going to send it around and do your regular good old knots. And we're going to keep our knots here, okay? Work with me. Make sure it stays exactly where you have it. So you're going to go around. Look at that. You're going to keep your finger here. Okay? See all that? Make sure it's where it should be. Because if this moves, you'll have elastic over. And the way to prevent it is by keeping your finger in your first loop. Send it through. See that catch? Okay. Maybe hold it open if you can. And this is why it's good to have enough elastic, because if you do not, you don't have enough to send it into your surgeon knot twice. Okay. So now I'm carefully sending it back through. Gotta catch it. Okay. So now we have the surgeon knot going through. For fun, I can send it back through, but I'm going to try to do another one of these knots to be sure. So I'm doing this slow because that good old loop will be the loop that goes over here or here or to another one of these gemstones, and that's the last thing you want, especially when you've done such a great job. Because, making your final punches now. So here you can pull. Again, we're not worried about this elastic breaking. I'm going to link you on to every single item I use today so that you have that. So we'll do another one. Again, I already know how you guys are in the comments. You guys like to eat me up, and that's not a challenge because I know what I'm doing here. Maybe you just listening slow. So I'm really trying to read what you guys are saying and improve it. You got talk about my nails. I'm doing better with these nails, okay? They say they're too long. Look, we're working with it. Doing hair this weekend too, so it can't be too long. I learned how to braid on YouTube University. So this is why I love to do this because I learned so much on YouTube. So I'm like, let's just add to it. Let's learn and teach, guys. So now we're pulling this bracelet, okay? We're putting our finger right there. I don't know if I should show you this slow, but for the people in the back, this is what my fingers are doing. Sometimes you do things and you don't realize you have to explain what you're doing. So this is what my fingers look like for whatever reason. I've never paid that much attention to it. Now, when I do this, I'm making sure that when I do this, I'm making sure that this second loop stays exactly where I have my first knot. Because if it does not, it will wrap around any gemstone and it is tacky. And we don't do tacky. You don't want tacky. You don't spend your time doing all of this to come a little tacky. Cringe. You guys still say cringe out there? So we are sending it around. It's getting harder because, well, of course I have to moisturize my hands for you guys. But that moisture is creating some, it's a little harder to work with. So I'm gripping it. I'm trying to show you guys the fingers, but in order for me to get a good grip, I can't be too cute with it. Okay? Send it around one more time. Now before we go down on it, let's check because we can't be on the live and have that same tacky loop I was telling you guys about. So you pull, but you look, and you pull, and you look, and you check, and you pull. Okay, because this is the final step. So this is where you can't afford to really mess this up. Okay. So now we're down, we're good. You do 2 surgeon knots on one side, you're done. You're done. Okay. Nobody can tell you nothing about nothing. Just do 2. You're good. All right. So we have 2. Now it's time to chop. Because we're done with this side, guys. We're done. There's nothing more on this side. The reason why I keep a BeadBug on this side because I need to know if there's something more going on this side. Because, let's say we knotted that up. Because the sides are so similar, you may not sit down, look away. The kid may say something. Kids have to do something. Maybe go check the mail. The fire alarm's going off. Things are happening. And you may forget which side you knotted. And you come out of it, you come back and, which side was it? And you try to see it, but you can't quite. So I put these things here to help me just mental state, keep me flowing, and make sure that each end has its appropriate attention. Okay? So now we're going to cut. Now when we cut, we're going to pull and cut. We don't just cut because we have some things going here we're going to pull. We want to make sure that we get all this elastic so nothing's hanging out. So I like to do a little grip like this. Make sure you got a nice pull so you can see exactly where your cut is. Okay? You go as low as you can go, as close without screwing up this whole thing, and we're done on that side, okay? So now this is how much elastic we have left. Remember we started with about 20-30 inches, and we just have maybe about 3 inches left that we're tossing, which is beautiful. Probably less than that, but don't be knocking here. Okay, so other end, look at that, barely hold it. Check this out, y'all. All right, see that? Now it's time to loop it. We're done. Okay, bracelet, here we come. Okay, clients, I hope you're ready. So let's do that again. Here's exactly how I begin my knot on the ends. So the reason I hold here is I want my finger to create that hole and take it around. Okay. So now I'm using my second finger to hold it still to make sure it stays between that same gemstone. Because if we go here or here, we're going to have a problem. And we didn't do all this work to have problems. I didn't have a problem here in this slide. Okay, thinking out loud now. All right, so your finger's there. Okay. Now you're going to use that finger to pull it up because that finger is going to give you a little bit more leverage. Now you have this acting real slick with me, but you're going to put it through one time. We're going to send that thing through another time. Same surgeon knots we were doing, but now we're doing it with 1 string instead of 2. Now we're moving slow here. Because remember we talked about those loops that like to form around when you're doing this? So I'm keeping my finger here because I'm not playing with this elastic today. Okay? So people like to play with you. They will play with you. They're trying to ruin your whole entire day, but not today. Okay. Alright. So I do a little pull down. Sometimes I'm just doing things and I realize let me explain it because it probably just looks crazy to you. Pulling up, I don't know. I made my knot on the top, so I feel like I need to pull down to change that motion of it. And then I'm going to do this one more time before we call it quits. Okay. And this is the final 2 hours. Let me get to this. How beautiful. This is the end. I don't want to get too distracted. Little bits of pink. And notice that these beads are much smaller than these beads. So I'll give you guys a link to the beads as well. So you can understand the size of the beads. Because you may think that you're ordering this comes in and now you're mad. But you can't be mad at me because we talked about on a bracelet anywhere between 18, this one here is 18 to 23. Had a 23 here, this one here, which is much larger. So if you went around and decided that you purchased, it's between 8 to 6 millimeters, okay? So if you purchase the 6 millimeters here, you'll be disappointed because what you wanted was the 8, which is a little thicker. And then if you go to count, it's not the same count because the gemstones are much smaller than these. So I'll give a link to that because why make mistakes if I've made those mistakes already? Okay? Keep in mind, if you want to make some with the crystals, look at this, the chips. You can also do this, but you will not be able to send the elastic through as many times. Why? Because the crystals, the holes, are not as big as the gemstones. So you'll be disappointed. So you'll find a way to, you'll send it through as many times as you can, but you definitely will not get 4 to 5 loops out of it when you use the crystals with the gemstones. But you can still secure it. It's beautiful. It's nice and tight. What else can you do with it? You can add little pieces like this. See the evil eye. And this was a big old twist because there's an addition of the evil eye. We added crystals. We added the gemstones. So it's a combination. And then a little charm here. So it's a lot going. But this can tell you guys that you can get creative as you want to with this. This is your thing. You make it your thing and people love it. Oh, it's beautiful. You guys. And then you can learn more about each crystal in the Crystal Bible. So let's go ahead and wrap this up here. Thank you all for being here with me. If you're speaking, I appreciate you. But unfortunately, I do not see or hear you. And this is our first live, so I'm working on different ways to multitask while I do this. So thanks for hanging in, and check this out, because we're at the end of the bracelet. Let's go. Let's go. So we're going to give it a nice pull. Why? Because we can. And this is the stretch magic. Get on it. And our usual. We're going to use this finger to keep our loop so we can see it. We're going to set it down and around. With that down and around, I put this finger back here because I need the elastic to stay exactly where we started. Don't go going into any other loops because that's where things can go wrong. And now we're at the final elastic, so this is where you really can't afford for things to go wrong. And if it does, start over. This is the best of us. You can pull the string, you can double loop it. What you would probably have to do is cut off the elastic that went wrong and stretch as much as you can to secure a solid surgeon knot. So now we're going back into it. Now I'm using 2 fingers for whatever reason. I don't know if I've done that before. If you're 1 finger, 2 finger, go for it. But if you can tie your shoes, you can do this. And what I did again, I sent this extra one just around and around. Why not? And you know what? I'll do it one more time. Why not? Because this is it. Now, here's the hard part, the tough part. When it's going down, if this loop loops anywhere else, it's not look good, it's tacky, and you ruined it. You ruined it. Let's just say you ruined it. So now we have our loop. Now, not too thick, because that extra thing, just gave it a little bit of thickness that I don't appreciate right now. But we can get rid of that. You can just keep tugging at it. I'm pulling it a little tighter than I normally would, but that extra loop and that surgeon knot makes it slightly thicker. And for me, I'm not here to see any thickness. So this is the final. Now, because that extra loop, I'm going to give you guys a little bonus trick here. Where's my needle? Where's the needle? Come in with the needle. Because I want to make sure that that extra knot that I put there, which I appreciate because that's going to really secure the perimeters of this thing. But I'm going to just send it, make sure it goes through the gemstone. I'm going to use my big eye needle, Beadalon, my people. And I'm just going to kind of pull and see if there's any room for me to send it through one more time. This could be enough, but let's see. Okay, needle's through. Let's see if we can get the rest of it. Great. So I did that, and I'm doing this because I want to see if I can tug that extra knot that I put in, if I can tug it through this gemstone. So that when you're wearing this, you don't see that extra knot. You'll feel it because this thing is secure, but you won't see it. So what I'm doing is pull And my goal is to put that extra knot that I put there inside of this gemstone, and now I'm gonna make my last knot here, okay? So that's like a little extra tip. This is just to make things, it's all about the aesthetics, right? So we want things to look good, to feel good, and when you take your time with this, people can feel that when they receive it. I don't know how long we've been going here, but this is how long it takes for this particular bracelet. So I hope the client appreciates it, because this was a well-explained description of what we're doing. My heart just stopped. I thought I just did one of those new things I was telling you guys to look out for. But we're good. So, whoop de whoop. Let's pull. Let's tug it down. Good. Solid. Okay. So now we're gonna go back in, because that tug sometimes that's another thing with these stones. It could be a little cutting or a little bit sharp for the elastic, so you may have that happen. But all of that extra tugging has tugged us into we're done. So what I'm doing here is just checking to see if there's any extra elastic, because we can have that. And I like to cut it when it ends, but there it is. There it is. There it is. See that? Okay. So let's get that. And what we're going to do is cut so that all of that is gone, gone, gone. We don't see a thing, and it goes into the gemstones. So bring it close, right? Working with you guys. So try to keep it far. It's helpful to have scissors with the sharp end, with the point, because when you have to work so closely, it helps to slip it. Hold on, hold on. What I'm doing is pulling a little bit, just to give it a little more oomph. Good. Scissors are not sharp enough to really secure it. There we go. Okay. Now we got the cut. Now. Now we have the product is complete. Can you see it? Okay. We did that. Us, together. We did that. And now we have the secure bracelet, and now we have a product. So now we can put a price tag on it, and now we can call client and say your product is ready, so you can cleanse it. You can make sure that it's prepared to go. I would never try this on, because I would never be the first stretch of such a beautiful bracelet. But it is prepared. It is ready to go. And I will be checking the comments for any questions, comments, concerns, complaints. If you have any questions about some of the items that we've used today, let me know in the comments. You guys be sure to subscribe, because as these orders come, my goal is to teach. So if you see something you like, you want more questions, I definitely, creating is like riding a bike. It's a skill you don't forget. Sometimes you may be a bit rusty, but once you get back into it, here you are, you're flowing again. So I was able to discover some of these beautiful handmade bracelets. If you see some you like, be sure to chat with me. Look at this one. We talk about things that you can add to it. So as you're creating out there, my beautiful creators, if something has a hole, this is one of my secrets. If it has a hole, similar to this, if a charm has a hole, in this case, this charm had a hole, you can add it to anything. So be sure to look for anything that has a hole in it. And this is gorgeous. You can see it's chakra based with the queen. That's something you're interested in. So let's chat. Let me know. But I've got to go. So I will be back with a few other tutorials as I create. I will be able to assist and share and guide you all along the way. Thank you all for your support, for your guidance, for everything you've done so far, for the subs, and thanks for being here with me today. I hope that you were able to first off, hang in, because I took longer than expected, but I appreciate it because look at the final product. It's so worth it. I don't know if you guys can see that there. Yeah. It's a little difficult. But thank you for joining. Until next time, my dear friends. Until next time. Miss Wayside Beads, 2 a.m. code. We are here. And I'll be checking your comments and definitely replying to each and every one of you as we move along here. Have a wonderful day and come back. I'll be giving you guys some insight on the Beyonce concert. And it should be a good time, so have a wonderful day. Much love, beautiful people, my power seekers. Catch you next time.
Good job.